10 years from now, a Disney day might start in a different parking hub, pass through a rebuilt downtown Disney, and end in parts of the resort that are parking lots today. So today, we're counting down the 7 biggest changes that could reshape the Disneyland Resort over the next decade, from projects already moving to giant expansion zones that could completely change the map. For years, downtown Disney mostly felt like the space between parking and the parks. That's changing. Construction is underway on Porto's Bakery, and Disney says this will be the first Porto's with sit down table service and a full bar. Earl of Sandwich will occupy the ground floor of a new 2-story location, with Gordon Ramsay at the Carnaby coming upstairs. And Disney has also announced Arthur and Sons Steak and Bourbon and Pearl's Roadside Barbecue at the former Tortilla Joe's area. In other words, this isn't one nice restaurant addition, it's a bigger upgrade in how the resort handles arrival, downtime, and the hours before and after the parks. Downtown Disney is slowly becoming a destination in its own right. And once Disney upgrades the space around the parks, the next move is upgrading how you even get into the resort. Disney's new Eastside parking structure and transportation hub is a lot more important than it sounds. Officially, it's planned to replace the current Team Disney East building and Manchester Cast parking lot. Disney says it will bring about 6,000 parking spaces, rideshare and shuttle areas, security screening, and a pedestrian bridge over Harbor Boulevard leading to a new arrival esplanade. Construction is slated to begin in fall 2026. This is the big infrastructure move that supports everything else. Before Disney can seriously grow the resort, it has to handle more people, more cars, and more ways of arriving. This project is the foundation for the future. Once the resort can handle more guests, the next question becomes, what are those guests coming for? Disney has officially announced the first ever Coco attraction for Disney California Adventure. Guests will join Miguel on a trip to the land of the dead, and the ride will be built near Paradise Gardens Park and Pixar Pier in areas that are mostly backstage today. This matters because it isn't just a swap, it's expansion, and creatively, Coco makes a ton of sense for DCA. It's emotional, visual, musical, and culturally rooted in Southern California in a way that feels like a natural fit. Backstage construction and clearing of the site is already underway, which makes this one of the definite and more tangible projects in the pipeline. But Coco is one new attraction. Marvel is getting something much bigger. When Avengers Campus opened, a lot of people felt the same thing. Nice start, but it doesn't feel finished. Disney is finally acting on that. Avengers Campus is officially set to double in size with 2 new attractions, Avengers Infinity Defense and Stark Flight Lab. Infinity Defense sends guests into a multiverse scale battle against King Thanos. Stark Flight Lab features unique attraction tech with ride pods that move on a track before being lifted by a giant robot arm for flight maneuvers. Disney has also highlighted Robert Downey Jr. returning as Tony Stark, and most importantly, construction is already well underway for both of these attractions. So this is no longer Marvel Blue Sky talk. This is the phase where Avengers Campus starts turning into the larger scale land people expected from the beginning. Marvel may be the most advanced expansion underway, but DCA's biggest identity shift may come from something else entirely. Disney has officially confirmed an Avatar destination for Disney California Adventure, planned for part of the current Hollywood backlot area. The project is based on Avatar, The Way of Water, and future Avatar films, and Disney has only described it as a new destination but has yet to elaborate on the full attraction lineup. That's an important distinction. The project is real, but it's still early. Disney has originally said Monsters Incorporated would close in early 2026 to make way for it, but this closure has now been delayed until 2027. So the cleanest way to read this is Avatar is definitely coming, but the exact timing, footprint, and transition are still not publicly known. What is settled is what it means directionally. DCA keeps moving away from loose California theming and deeper into immersive IP destinations. But Avatar is still one project inside one park. These next two entries are bigger than that. They're about land Disney can now transform almost from scratch. This is where Disneyland's future plans start looking more significant. Right now, the Toy Story lot is just parking. Functional, useful, not exciting. But under Disneyland Forward, the area tied to this zone can now support theme park attractions alongside shopping, dining, and entertainment. And that's why fans immediately jump to the biggest possible question: could this be a third gate? It's not an outrageous theory. This is one of the clearest expansion parcels Disney controls around the resort. But based on what's actually been approved, the more likely outcome is probably something more flexible than a clean traditional third park. A mixed use district that blends rides, themed environments, restaurants, retail, and even hotel elements. Think less brand new theme park and more of a hybrid destination. Something that borrows from the open access energy of Disney Springs or the layered immersive philosophy of Fantasy Springs. Either way, this important shift is on its way. The Toy Story lot will no longer just be support space, it's becoming one of the most important future development zones Disneyland has. And if the Toy Story lot feels like the big question mark, the west side of the resort feels like the giant blank canvas. The single biggest long term change is not just one ride, it's the entire west side of the resort. Disneyland Forward provides increased flexibility west of Disneyland Drive, where Anaheim now allows a mix that can include attractions, hotels, dining, shopping, and entertainment. That's why this area triggers so much speculation. Frozen, Zootopia, a Fantasy Springs style build out, a giant immersive district that blurs the line between theme park and resort. But there's another possibility that may be even more interesting. This land may not become a separate gate at all. It could become the space that physically expands the boundaries of Disneyland, DCA, or both. And honestly, that fits the entire Disneyland Forward philosophy better than the old new third gate conversation. Anaheim's approvals also expand the resort's theme park district to 389 acres, and the development agreement ties Disneyland Forward to at least $1.9 billion in Disney investment over 10 years. So while no Westside IP has been officially announced, this is now one of the biggest expansion canvases Disneyland has had in decades. Whatever rises here will be nearly as significant as the original build-out of DCA. And that's the real story. The next decade at Disneyland will not just add things, it will be a massive evolution for the entire resort. So when you zoom out, this isn't one expansion, it's a stacked transformation. Downtown Disney gets upgraded, the arrival system gets rebuilt, DCA adds Coco, expands Marvel, and commits to Avatar. And beyond that, Disney now has room to push into land that used to be parking back of the house or locked behind old approvals. The next 10 years at Disneyland won't feel like a normal update cycle. It'll feel like Disneyland significantly redrawing its own map. So, out of all 7 of these changes, which one do you think will have the biggest impact on the Disneyland experience? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.